All right, so here's an update on the 661. When I tore it down and I was all excited to go do some performance work, I looked at my cleaned up cylinder, and you can go back and look at it, and I cleaned the ever-living crap out of it. There's reflections in there, but look at right there in the edge. I'm starting to lose the plating. When I said it cleaned up nicely, it did, but it really took a lot of effort. So anyway, I'm glad I only ran a half a tank of gas out of this. So either this goes and gets replated and we start all over again, or look what I got. I got a cylinder. Mit Kolben. At the bargain price of $368.42. I have heard this was stock that was on hand at Land Rapers Supply. I was told that they're out of stock right now. This is one they had on hand, and I knew from a customer of mine they got their 661 warranted. They actually gave them another saw because it took so long and the parts were on back order. So I knew they had one on the shelf. It's been long enough where that box was on the shelf at the old price of $368.42. I could have saved a few bucks and ordered it off of eBay, but I was right there at the counter and that was my impulse buy for the day. Supposedly the new price is like $406 plus tax. So enough about inflation that chaps my ass. So this is an older style cylinder. So if you read on the internet, all right, so there's the old school original version intake port, and there's a newer one. So what we as builders would do, if once you machine enough off the base, it was always a good idea to put a little epoxy in the bottom of the intake because your intake numbers. So this one is a little less tall, and I don't know if it's wider or not. I'll have to get something out, but just visually it looks, I don't know, hard to tell. I don't see any other changes in there. The factory squish band's the same, and these must get tossed around a good bit. There's a fair amount of scratches, and I broke the tape on the box. This hasn't been opened since the factory. And I know you're thinking, hey, what's that in the background? Well, I was watching Indiana Doug this morning, and one of his videos popped up in my feed. This is my Solo 665, and it's bone stock. Nothing's been done to it. I do prefer, this one came with the Walbro carb. A lot of guys like the Zama carbs, but I feel like this Walbro carb does pretty good. If you can get the Zamas dialed in just right, supposedly they run a little bit better. But I'm happy with this. I've run it. I bought this one off of eBay in running condition, and I've been pretty pleased with it. It's in really nice shape. And here's my race saw that we did at Mastermind's get together. This one's got a Tillotson on it that came out of a 390. So that's why it's cocked off to the side. I've got to manually do the choke and stuff like that. And this has been heavily machined. I got some videos out there for it, but I might do another one running these. I was like, I haven't run a Solo in a while. So maybe we'll include some of that. And I thought, I'm going to put this back together stock. It's Saturday. I can't get into the shop at work to use the lathe. So I thought this might be a fun video. So this is the latest, greatest technology from Stihl in this size platform with a fancy piston. That does have the Wiseco piston on it from Dave. And I'd run it against a 1992 066 red light. That was there for a tuning. This is my personal saw. I've owned this for well over 10 years, maybe 15. Here, let me find my flashlight. This thing's bone stock, never been changed. So if you look in there and you can see, come on, spark screen's still there. Maybe that one's gone. The baffle's still in there. So this is just as it left the factory. What a great little saw. A lot of fun to run, and pretty impressive what they were able to do back then. You look at these old cylinders from this generation, and the port works right there, man. That's why these ran so good and people were so fond of them. Anyway, let me get this put together and we'll head out to the wood pile and we'll run old school versus new school, and maybe incorporate an oil test into that. I'll mix up a little bit of gas and we'll start some of the oil and oil thread result testing. So anyway, I'm happy with this. So this saw has, from the bottom up, I rebuilt it. It was a part saw. So I've got a notchy bearing on this side on the flywheel, an OEM proprietary bearing with the nylon cage on this side, and fresh seals and all that stuff. So with a brand new top end, we should be ready to go to do some oil tests. I'm pretty excited about it. All right, let's do a little cutting. Got a state-of-the-art Stihl 661 CM MTronic, and we've got a Wisco piston in it, so it's not completely stock. However, there's been no port work, machine work, timing advance. Still has the stock muffler on it. And let's see how this stacks up against one of the muscle saws from the old days. I'll zoom in later when I'm running this to that LED light right there. But this is an 066. These are the first couple of years of production on the 066s, and they were hot to trot right out of the factory. So let's do some cutting. I've got hexaground in-house, full comp chain, 32-inch bar. We're cutting poplar today. It's a little soggy. I'll take you in here and look. The heart of this is really wet, so we might get bound up just from trying to drag wet chips through the kerf. But let's see how it goes. Not too shabby. Have a look at some 90s high tech. Man, that old girl's cool. And I did forget to mention one thing. So this saw's got an 8-pin rim sprocket on it. So you end up losing a little bit of power. You get more chain speed out of it. But the way the saw runs, and to keep it off the limiter with a nice aggressive tune, you know, but that same chain, same wood, same bar, and a 1992 power head. You know, they don't make stuff like this anymore. Just the feel of it. I mean, you know, it's still a modern saw in every way. Still electronic ignition. You know, the AV is basically the same as a 660. So, you know, it's not that bad. Anyway, thanks for watching, y'all. Appreciate you sticking with me.